So let's get started. So first of all, obviously, my name's James. Obviously, I'm James, the mental health PT. Going to be doing this talk today on behalf of HelpBnk. So obviously, the purpose of this little event is to help manage stress and obviously maintaining your mental health as an entrepreneur. I'm guessing we're all in the same boat in that respect. So thank you all for joining. So we're going to go through probably 6 key strategies or 6 key areas that we're going to talk about today. But I know some of you obviously won't know who I am and the reason why I'm doing it. So a little bit of a backstory about myself. I'm 35 years old. Now, but obviously from the age of 17 to 27, I had an eating disorder. It started after being let go from playing football. I then had to leave school to carry on doing my A levels and to do a college degree to go to university. I know Simon will hate that I was very much stuck in the matrix of following a set pattern, but it was drummed into me as a kid going to grammar school. So leaving my friends that I'd had for 6-7 years and having to start afresh was a massive upheaval for me. And the final thing that happened within the space of this 18-month period was that my nan was diagnosed with cancer and she passed away. And I just felt like an absolute failure. I felt like I wasn't good enough for football. I wasn't good enough for friends. I wasn't good enough to be able to help my nan. And that I'd let my parents down as well. And the way that I dealt with that was to restrict what I ate and overly excessively exercise. And obviously that was my world for essentially 10 years. I'm 6'4", and at my worst, I was 5.5 stone. At the age of 21, my parents had to sign a do not resuscitate form while I was in hospital. I was at high risk of going into cardiac arrest. And yeah, I was as close to death as possible, really. I was essentially at rock bottom. But at the age of 27 was when my recovery process started. And fast forward, obviously, into like the 8th year now. Like last year, I set up James, the mental health PT business to essentially help others, like I'm doing today in regards to like the education process of helping people look after their mental health, put things in place. So no matter what life chucks at them, they have got enough coping mechanisms and strategies in place that they can stay on top of their mental health and essentially be in charge of it and not let your mental health be in charge of you. So obviously the amazing thing that HelpBnk is in regards to helping entrepreneurs, and we are all kind of in the same boat. Obviously, I'm a year into doing my business, so I'm still very much a novice. But I think one of the most important factors to start with is to understand and accept stress, especially obviously being on your own in business. You are the sales guy, you're the marketing guy, you are the content guy. Everything you do, everything that your business incorporates is you. There's no one else, and obviously a part of that there is a massive amount of stress that is on your shoulders. That everything relies on you. But stress is a natural response to the demands and challenges of entrepreneurship. Accepting that stress as part of the journey that you're trying to create is essential, but you need to manage it effectively. So I think one of the most important things is to try and develop self-awareness of being able to recognize the signs and symptoms of stress, such as irritability, a disruption in your sleeping pattern, difficulty concentrating, potential changes in your appetite, obviously loss of appetite as well, or obviously picking the wrong type of foods to eat. Being aware of all of those things and being able to address them before things get worse is a massive step in being able to cope with life and cope with business. So obviously, how do you deal with that? To me, that you prioritize self-care. So self-care is essentially making sure that you look after number one. No one else is people can support you, etc. But ultimately, it's only you that is going to be able to put things in place to prioritize yourself and make sure that you are the best version of you that you can be, emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually. So taking care of your physical health is a big thing, and it's a big like coping mechanism that I put in place for the people that I work with. And it's not going to the gym and bodybuilding, it's exercise. It's just getting out in nature, especially at this moment in time when the weather's nice. Being able to take care of yourself physically, whilst maintaining like a balanced diet, the engagement in regular exercise and getting enough sleep. Like, these activities will enhance your energy, increase your energy levels, and also increase your resilience as well. Like, if you are the best version of you that you can be, when the stress of work takes its toll, you will be able to take stock and be able to put things in place to make sure that you keep on top of everything. Incorporate like relaxation techniques into routine as well. So obviously, I know like yoga is a big thing in regards to like the meditation, deep breathing exercises. Like, these practices will help you reduce stress and promote a sense of calm. And especially, it's a really good way of, if you've had a really stressful day at work, being able to almost take yourself out of that situation, implement these exercises, and almost help you like recenter, de-stress, recenter, and then go again the following day. Another important aspect to focus on as well is time management and prioritization. Now, that's something that I lack in terms of like prioritizing which tasks to do well. So I think the most important thing for that is to establish like a clear schedule and set yourself realistic goals. So when I say goals, it's obviously making sure that they're smart, measurable, achievable, realistic, time related, and break down larger tasks into like smaller, manageable steps. That way you reduce that sense of feeling overwhelmed and that it's an insurmountable task. Obviously, if it's just yourself that's in the business, it's very hard to be able to delegate tasks to other people. But so in that sense, if you can prioritize which ones are most important, which ones need to be done in a specific order, so be able to make sure that you're organized enough to prioritize that, action upon them, and then that way, I say, like, if you have a clear prioritization of what you're going to do, it just kind of helps give you focus, and it gives you direction of where you need to go in the business. You don't have to do everything by yourself. Obviously, there are with the likes of HelpBnk, there's a massive like platform out there to have like external help, share ideas, tips, and if you're stuck on a particular thing, obviously the people at HelpBnk are really good, because if they're either going through the same thing that we are all going through, or they've been there and done it and they know how to help you get from A to B. So if you are feeling that you're like overwhelmed and there's too much going on and you're struggling to be able to cope, then consider like outsourcing, or potentially hiring help with certain aspects of your business. I know people don't really like the admin stuff, so there are like virtual PAs that could potentially help take calls, set up meetings while you're focused on other areas. I think another important things that I've learned over the last year is learning to say no. That obviously, if someone wants to meet you and they don't align with your values or your priorities, or you feel that your time is better served elsewhere in regards to your business, learning to say no, not in a rude way, but obviously you need to make sure that what you're doing is in alignment with you hitting your goals, hitting the targets that you've set, and that may mean like moving a meeting, rescheduling a meeting, or if that person doesn't really fit with where you want to take the business, or someone that you want to collab with, if they're not really fitting with your key demographic or fit with the core values of the business, then learning to say no. I think that's a really important thing. Focus on what truly matters for the growth of your business at the end of the day. Because obviously, as entrepreneurs, it's all us. Everything we're doing is to help and make our own business succeed. So, following on from what I said about the importance of HelpBnk, building a support network around you is massive, and I think that's one of the key elements of why I found HelpBnk so useful. Like surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals, and you're almost creating a little network of individuals that are all going through the same like process as you, maybe in different areas or different industries, or they're at a certain point that's ahead of you. But being able to like share your experiences, seek advice of other people, offer support to each other. I think that could be a massive way of like alleviating stress, and that you almost have it in your head that you're not alone. You're not alone with this. And I think being able to know that other people are going through the same stresses as you, it kind of makes you feel that you're not on your own, and that you're not this isn't just me, like why am I struggling with this? It's like if other people have struggled with it as well, it helps you like gain stock of where you're at. Like I myself, away from HelpBnk, I am part of a networking group as well. So consider joining professional organizations. I think that's a really good way of expanding your network and not latching onto other people, but obviously everyone you meet in business will have their own network of people. And although they may not be able to help you per se, someone in their network may be able to. So consider doing that. Obviously, it helps you gain insight into other people's way of thinking. It helps you understand other industries and how other people operate, that you could almost cherry pick little bits of information from other people that are going to hone your skills as an entrepreneur and maybe help you see things in a way that you may not have seen before. And I think being able to gain that insight from other people is valuable. And there may be a cost involved with that networking group, but if you're in a networking group that is potentially advantageous to your business, then it's almost like you're investing in your business, investing in your future, and it's going to help you in the long run. So away from building a support network, another important aspect is to set boundaries. I think that's a massive thing. Obviously, having that work-life balance, being able to establish clear boundaries between your work and your personal life. It's very difficult because most entrepreneurs, they burn the candle at both ends. But I think being able to avoid working excessively long hours and not being able to make time for other activities out of the business will mean that it will impact you in a negative way. Obviously, there's that saying that all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, and that is very true. There needs to be some form of balance, and there needs to be a way of disengaging with work and focusing on something completely away from that, to be able to process how your day's gone, but also to have a focus away from work. So almost like designate specific hours of the day. So whether you've got like a set amount of hours that you work, and then you could potentially say that when I get home, I'll give myself 1 hour to go through like any admin, answer any emails. But after that, it's my time. It's my time to de-stress. You can engage in non-related work activities. It helps you recharge your batteries. And again, it will help you, whether you can do a hobby, focus on the physical health, going out for an exercise, or just spend time at home with yourself, cooking a meal, having a bath, listening to music, just having that balance between it all being work. I think that's another massive important thing, to be able to have like clear boundaries. And another thing, obviously, going back to the setting of goals, you should be able to practice gratitude and celebrate like small wins. Obviously, everything that we're doing is everyone's got short, medium, long-term goals within their business, and the moment you hit like a short-term goal or you hit yourself a target, like celebrate it, give yourself a pat on the back, and whether that be with like a takeaway, or you treat yourself to something nice, or you put money in a pot for a holiday, or whatever, being able to acknowledge and celebrate your accomplishments, no matter how small that they seem. If you've set out to achieve it and you've achieved it, recognize it, reward yourself, give yourself the credit for the hard work, to be able to know that you've had a target in mind and you've been able to achieve it. I think it's massive to be able to cultivate gratitude, getting in the routine of being able to like give yourself self-love and give yourself a pat on the back. And I think that will also help you. I think it'll also help you build that like resilience and that internal motivation to keep going. It's like, if I can achieve that, what else can I achieve? And it's kind of like it gets you into that growth mindset of constantly trying to achieve new things, but bigger things, better things. But yeah, if you're being able to take stock of where you're at and celebrate that, I think it gives you that positivity to carry on that journey. And obviously regularly remind yourself of the reasons why you started. Again, it's that self-reflection time. So prioritize that within a diary, within your schedule, whether that's once a week, once every 2 weeks, once a month. Just be able to take stock of like what's happened in the last month. What have I done? What have I achieved? Like how far have I come? And obviously take time to when you have these self-reflection times to be like, where was I at like 6 years ago? Where was I at when I first started? Look where I am now. Look how much I've grown. I think that's a really important factor, just to continue reinforcing like what you're doing is needed, and it's obviously proving to yourself that what you set out to achieve is working. and be able to give yourself, like you say, praise and self-love that you are achieving something that has been created by you and you're achieving it for you. I think it's important to be able to give yourself self-love, because I say, being an entrepreneur, it can be a very lonely journey. And if no one else is around you, no one else is going to praise you, no one else is going to pick you up when you're down. It's solely down on you. So being able to praise yourself when things are going well, it's an important factor. So kind of like addressing those 6 issues or 6 areas. I think in conclusion, like managing stress, maintaining your mental health as an entrepreneur, I think it's crucial for your own like long-term success. Without the ability to prioritize and have that work-life balance, you're dicing with the scales. And obviously, if the work takes too much, essentially you could burn out. You can make yourself ill, and then your business is going to suffer because of that. And then you're going to suffer because of that, because you feel like a failure, and it can end up snowballing into a really destructive cycle of potential self-sabotage. And then once you're at like the bottom, it's very hard to get yourself back going again, because you're going to have all these negative connotations where I started it before, it didn't work, there's no point doing it again. So being able to gain stock and have that balance of business and pleasure, and having coping mechanisms in place whereby you can go for a walk the dog, however you see fit. I think it's important to have that incorporated into your lifestyle. And I think by being able to understand how you're feeling, accepting stress, obviously, because we know that it's almost like a necessary evil. When we're starting this all out, there is a lot of stress involved, but being able to acknowledge that stress and then action upon it in a way that is going to help you alleviate your concerns and the stress levels. Being able to effectively manage your time is another obviously massive important thing. The support network with the help of the guys from HelpBnk, the potential of looking at networking opportunities as well, to be able to cultivate a bigger pool of people that you can use to sell your service, make introductions, potentially like collaborating and working with other people, again with the sole purpose of raising awareness of what you're doing, and you whether it be a product or service, setting boundaries, celebrating the small wins. I think it can help alleviate a lot of that work pressure, and obviously it won't negatively impact on your mental health and your mental well-being as well. And like I said, remember, like taking care of yourself, I think it's almost deemed that like it's a luxury, that you oh, no, it's more important just to do my work. It's not a luxury, it's a necessity. So yeah, that's me. So I wish everybody all the best on their entrepreneurial journeys. I wish you all success, and I hope you all set out to achieve what you want to. So obviously I know we are going to open the floor to any questions. So if there are any questions, please like type away, and I'll get round to answering them. So let's have a look.
Thanks so much, James. Yeah, if anyone has any questions, wants to come up on stage, you can raise your hand, or you can just write it in the chat.
Yes, my apologies. Yes, I joined it like a week ago. I am interested in doing a little venture, a little idea. I think I posted it about turning plastic waste into construction materials. But I wasn't sure if, as I said, I wasn't sure if the resources were. Somebody posted and asked where I was located, or where was I trying to do the venture, and I didn't respond it because I wasn't sure if it was only UK residents only, because I realized it's a UK based organization.
Oh, yeah, no, that's fair. It sounds like a really interesting venture that you're trying to do. Yeah, you can just, reply back to that person saying that you're, where you are. That's no problem.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Andre.
We just had another question. Have you experienced tinnitus from stress, and did you find a way to reduce it?
I haven't experienced that myself. Obviously, I think that's obviously that's something that's brought on for excess stress, isn't it? So obviously, again, it goes back to what we've mentioned in earlier on, and being able to manage your stress in a better way. Obviously, if you be able to create some form of outlet, like I noticed that obviously my kind of routine, if ever I'm feeling stressed, is to usually have dinner and then run myself a bath and end up listening to music for like a few hours in the bath, just to be able to create something that's completely away from what I've been doing during the day, whether that be on my laptop doing meetings, obviously networking groups and working with my clients. To be able to do something that's completely away from that, you are literally kind of shifting your complete mindset and your focus away from work and having something that's a complete off, almost like a complete tangent. So being able to incorporate other things that are solely away from, I know it's very difficult it's not a 9-to-5 job, it's not an office job where you can just walk out of work and it's done. But I think it's something that people need to start to practice more as a way of trying to distance themselves for a set period of time, and obviously incorporate some form of external, like therapy, however they see that, whether that be through exercise in the gym, or going for a walk, listening to music, listening to podcasts, just something that is almost that they can put their phone away, come off social media, come a step away from their emails for a set period of time, just to gain a little bit of like respite, and like de-stress, fill up your happy mood again, before you come back to it again. I think it's almost like you're just trying to fill the tank up again before like the next day, obviously, when you're gonna be back in work mode and smashing it. So yeah, it's very important to try and manage your stress in a better way. And I think obviously if it's becoming like a medical problem in regards to like your stress levels, and obviously I think you may need like more specific help, or trying to maybe like reach out to people like me, that can obviously try and put you on a different way of looking at things, and trying to incorporate different things into your life that are going to help manage them stress levels, for the longevity of your health, and obviously ultimately your business as well.
So how to become clear on your vision while having severe stress to be able to feel what to work towards after relieving stress?
So what was that? How to
become clear on your vision while having severe stress to be able to feel what to work towards after relieving stress?
I think it's kind of it's a bit of a difficult situation with that. Obviously, if you are stressed, I think the way that you are is trying to do things to obviously firstly like alleviate that stress. So again, the coping mechanisms that you can put in place, to be able to try and get yourself out of that mindset. But obviously, if you have a vision in place or a vision for your business, or how you want to, if you have a business idea, then it's about trying to nurture that along the way. It may not be that you're ready to put it in place and to start it. Obviously, if there are like health reasons for that, but obviously kind of use that time, like effectively to try and research your business a little bit more, get a little bit more market research, see if there are other people doing something similar, and trying to use your time as effectively as possible. And I think like the stress levels that you have in your life currently, if you're able to implement other things to try and de-stress, and then you can kind of become more like focused on your business, and then if you reach a point where eventually you're able to start it and get it off the ground, I think that the other stresses that you have in your life, kind of, if you have a clear goal and you have a clear focus and you've got this drive to make this business work, your stress level kind of, you become more focused on other things, that the stresses that you felt that you had before almost like become almost like eradicate, because you're focusing on something positive. So I think that's kind of the best, trying to implement stress management techniques, and then in the background trying to do some more research into your business, as a way to, when you are ready to hit the ground running, you've got all this information ready to go. I think that would be the best advice for that.
Super helpful, James. Thank you. Daniel has said, what advice would it be if you're burning out but still need to continue?
I think, like we mentioned in the talk, I think again, being able to have clear boundaries, have set boundaries, and that may mean that you you focus less time on work. Again, having a designated like time scale in between things. Like the reason why you're burning out is because the analogy of the scales, it's ticked too much in work. You don't have that like a healthy work-life balance. So in order to reset the scales for if work's down here, then you need to make sure that you have other activities away from work that are going to help try and rebalance you and recenter you. So it's about you can't obviously solely stop doing your work because that's going to be your source of income. But in order to take stock and focus on other areas of your life as well. So that could be again doing something to focus on you, incorporating like another hobby, or reading, or some other form of educating yourself, whereby it's gonna have a profound effect on you in a positive way, but it's not solely going to be like business related. I think that way, being able to step away from work, and being able to have time for yourself, and that could be to pursue another hobby, another interest, just to be able to reset that scales is massive. Obviously, if you're aware of it, if you're aware that you're burning out, then obviously that's the first stage of self-acceptance, and then it's on you to put an action plan in place to be able to implement other things that are going to kind of bring you back to a more balanced way of living.
Amazing. Thanks, James. Just one more question coming from Nick. He's currently unemployed, but support and care for his father, who is an alcoholic. Life's been difficult, and he needs to bring more income for his kids, and need to balance life/work whilst caring for his father. Any recommendations on how he can do this?
I think obviously, like, I'm really sorry to have to hear like what you're dealing with. That must be like incredibly stressful. I think my advice would be to obviously to almost write out your potential structure in the day. Obviously, if you have set hours of looking after your dad, it may mean that in terms of being able to get like a part-time job, then obviously looking at what hours are available to you, and then obviously then searching job sites to see if there are any part-time or temporary jobs that fit them allocated hours. I know it may not be desirable, but obviously it may require you doing almost like unsociable hours. I know when I was at university, I worked as a fruit and veg picker for a wholesaler, and I was working like early, late nights through the night. Obviously, it's unsociable hours, but obviously it meant that I could still had my time going to uni and doing my work. So there are always ways of finding enough. There's always enough hours in a day to do something productive, and I think being able to prioritize your life at the minute and have a set list of where you're at, what time you can align to work, and then trying to obviously just smashing out the job sites to see if there are any jobs going that match your hours. Obviously, I know that's very difficult, but I think again, being able to have a break from caring for your dad, I know that's like a 24-hour thing in regards to like he's always going to be on your mind, but being able to have that balance as well. Obviously, if you have a job, then you have priorities away from that. You almost give yourself a focus. You give yourself more responsibility that people are like relying on you, and it kind of gives you a bit more motivation that you are obviously you're earning a bit of money, which obviously ultimately is going to help you, your family, and your kids. So yeah, I think it's about looking at your life and understanding what hours you can commit to, and then trying to find a job that can accommodate them hours.
Amazing. Thanks, James. And thank you so much for your time.